everyone, this is Mandy. I have had some requests for videos on how I make my masks, and I am going to attempt to film this and show you. I'm doing this by myself, and I've got my arm in a sling, but here we go. So you want to use 100% quilter's cotton. This is what's recommended because it's tightly woven and it's thick. And you want to pre-wash it and pre-shrink it. So this is pre-washed, it's pre-shrunk. And what I've found works for men and women size masks is if you cut out a rectangle on the fold. So this one is folded in half. It's already cut out. I always leave one as a pattern so I don't have to keep measuring. So I just measure once. It's 6.5 by 9.5. So what I do is I have one that I always keep as my pattern. And then I just kind of like line up this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut around here, and then I've got some other ones cut up, and then I'll show you what I do next, okay? Okay, so this has been cut out. As you can see, here is the little bug fabric, and it is one long piece like this. Okay, now don't worry about ironing it just yet. I'm going to take it over to my serger. If you do not have a serger, you can do a cover stitch on your sewing machine, or you can do a 1/4 inch seam by folding the top half under a 1/4 inch. You can either finger press it like this, or press that, and then you want to do a running stitch on this, and then you want to do the same thing up here. You want to fold it down a 1/4 inch, press it, and do a running stitch. I have my serger, and that's very fast. I like it a lot. If you have a serger, I recommend using it because it's fast and it gives you a nice clean finish. So we're going to head over to the serger, and we're going to serge and put a cover stitch on both ends of the fabric over here, the short end. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm at my serger. I've never done this one-handed, so bear with me. I'm just gonna lift up the presser foot and put this fabric here and put it down. And I'm just gonna shave off the edge here. I like to go nice and slow. Make sure it's coming out okay. So this is going to give you a nice clean finish. It saves time, so you don't have to, fold and press and fold and press. So I just cut that like that. And then you're going to do the other side as well. So just stick that there. Sorry, I'm wiggling the camera. I'm just shaving the edge off. Okay. Now we're going to go to the ironing board. Okay, so here we are at the ironing board, and this is what the cover stitch looks like. So, let's see if I can... sorry about the bad filming, you guys. This is just really awkward. So I like to just kind of, if it's bunched up a little bit, I give the seam a little bit of a stretch. And then you want to trim off any excess string that's on the side. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to trim off these. This is why I can only do... So see how this is all bunched up right here? Trying to do this one-handed, but you want to stretch that out. Okay, and you're gonna trim off this end. I know I'm probably making you guys sick. I'm sorry. I can probably do a better video when I have someone to help me. Okay, so now we're gonna press. So, you're gonna take your iron. Just make everything nice and flat. Okay, so once that's done, so at this point, you would want to have your, what is it? If you don't have a cover stitch, you would want the ends to be folded over and sewn down, and you'd be pressing them at this point if you don't have a serger or cover stitch machine. So then what you want to do is you want to take your fabric and you want to fold it in half, and then you're going to press up top here so that there's a little line. Okay, then you're going to open it up like this. You're going to take your bottom piece and you're going to put it right on this line that's in the center. Okay, and then you're going to take the top and you're going to fold that down, and you're going to cover the bottom piece, and then you're going to press the top, and then you're going to press the bottom once you get them lined up how you want. So press the top and then the bottom. Okay, so now we need to put the pipe cleaner, or if you don't have a pipe cleaner, you can use bread ties. You can also use paper clips. I like the pipe cleaner because the fuzzy stuff kind of gives it some padding. So I fold it over like this, and I press right here. And the reason I do that is so that when I open this up, oh, well, it didn't press it out very good, but I can see that this is the center line. So this is the center of where I'm going to put my pipe cleaner right there. Okay, so I'm going to go get my pipe cleaner right now. Okay, here's my pipe cleaner. I've cut it in half, and the reason that I've cut it in half is because if I use the whole length of this, I would waste a piece of the pipe cleaner, whereas if I cut it in half, I can use more pipe cleaner and make more scarves. So what you want to do is make sure that there is the same amount of space on this end as there is this end, and you fold it over like this, and then if you have a clip, I like to put a clip in there to secure it so it won't fall out, because they like to move around a bit. So now we're going to take this to the sewing machine. Okay, we're at the sewing machine. I haven't pinned anything else. Right now I'm just going to secure the pipe cleaner. So I'm using my finger and I'm feeling where the edge of the pipe cleaner is. I'm just going to put that there for a second so I can adjust my settings. Let's see, I want my needle all the way over, so I'm going to move that. Again, sorry for the bad videography. Okay, so that's all the way over. Put my presser foot up. Oh, there it goes. Ugh, sorry guys. This one-handed sling thing is definitely a pain. Okay, I feel like that has moved a lot. See the space here on this side and the space over here? So these pipe cleaners, I don't know. That's definitely moved a lot. Like, that's not centered at all. So now I'm going to center it. So I'm going to turn off the video, I'm going to center it, and then we're going to come back. Okay, we're back. So just from that falling, the pipe cleaner moved probably 1.5 inches. So it's good to double check it before you start sewing, just to make sure that it's still centered. So presser foot is ready. We're going to start sewing. You want to back stitch like you've never back stitched before, you guys, because you really want these babies to hold up because they need to be washed a lot. Okay. Okay, so then you're going to stop, you're going to lift your presser foot, you're going to turn your work, Again, one-handed. Blah. Whew, get that out of the way. Alright, there, that looks good. Okay, so my pipe cleaner is right here. And we're just gonna go slow. I'm actually gonna take that off. Make sure we're still centered here. I'm gonna squeeze it. So I'm just kind of riding the edge of the pipe cleaner. Okay. Alright, and then I'm going to lift the presser foot again, turn my work, and back stitch. Okay, and then we're going to move it back to the ironing board. Okay, so the pipe cleaner's in, sewed in, the seam's right here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to make sure this is fold over like this, and then it's lined up how we want, okay? And then you're going to flip it over, and then you're going to put in your pleats, and you're going to press them after you put in each one. I cannot do this while filming, so I'm going to do it and then show you. Okay, so I started at the bottom and I went up towards the top with the pleats. So I did 3, and then I pressed each one. And so you want it to be about 3 inches on each side. Okay, now for the fun part. This was the easy part. We're going to do the fun part. We're going to either use bias tape or we're going to make bias tape. So I'll show you both. Okay, if you already have bias tape, that is awesome. This is going to save you a lot of time. So the bias tape that I like using, it has a fold going towards the center on each side. And what you're going to do is what I do is I have my measuring tape. I measure 18 and then 18 again. And then that's where I cut it. So what is that, like 36? Can't do math in my head right now. Yeah, that's 36. Okay, so you want 2 36-inch pieces of bias tape. So if you have bias tape, you can skip to the next part. If you don't, I'm going to show you how to make some. Okay, so this is some white cotton fabric. It's also quilter's cotton. We are going to make bias tape with this. Now, it's not real bias tape because real bias tape needs to be cut on the bias of the fabric, which is diagonal. That uses up a lot more fabric, and it's super flexible, but we don't need it to be that flexible because we're not going to go around in a circle and we're not going to go around in corners. So if you just cut in strips, that's fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this over, and you can do 1/2 inch or 1 inch strips, whatever you want. So you're going to fold it over, and then you're going to press all the way up your fabric. Okay, so this is the width that I like, and I've gone all the way up to the edge of the fabric. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow this line, and I'm going to cut all the way up, and that's my first strip. Okay, so I've cut my first strip out. This is what it looks like. It's folded like this, so that it's actually double the length. Once you finish that, you're going to want to do it again because you need 2 strips per mask. So we're going to do that one more time. Okay, so we have our 2 strips cut out. Now we need to press them so that they have the 2 folds going in. So we're going to get one out of the way. And you want to start on this end. You're going to open this up. And what we're going to do is we're going to fold one end so that it is touching that center line, and we're going to press this all the way to the end. Okay, so this has been pressed all the way to the end. Then you're going to flip it, find the end, and you're going to do the same exact thing on this side. You're going to fold it like this so that it meets right in the center. You're going to press it all the way to the end. Do the same thing to the other strip. Okay, so here is your 2 strips of bias tape, or binding, I guess we'll call it. These are going to be the straps to your mask. This is definitely the most time-consuming part of making the masks. Saying that, ties are so much better than elastics. They're going to hold up in the wash. The elastics will break down. These make your masks adjustable, so no matter if it's a man or a woman wearing them, you can make the same mask and it will fit either one of them. And these aren't going to be painful like the elastics that go around the ears. So once you have these done, I put them one right on top of the other, and then I'm going to fold them over so that they're at the halfway point, and then I will press at the halfway point to give a marker that'll show you where the center of your binding is. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, so I have my mask here. I've got my pleats put in. This is my binding, and I have pressed the center so I know where the center point is. Now we're going to put these onto the mask. If you have clips or pins, feel free to use them. I don't always use them just because I feel like it's more time consuming, but you're welcome to if you're worried about things coming apart. So I'm going to get the binding ready, and then we're going to put it on the mask. Okay guys, again, I apologize for the shaky filming and doing this one-handed. So what we're going to do is we're going to find that center line, and you're going to put the center line in the center of the raw edge over here, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to open up one of these flaps, and we're going to put the raw edge of the flap on the raw edge of the mask, okay? So now if you have clips, you can go ahead and put a clip on. I will just for show. That can kind of keep the binding in place. I've made these enough where I feel like I can hang on to them pretty well, but if you're starting off, it's probably a good idea to put a clip in. I only do one side at a time. So this other one's going to stay here until this one's totally done. And the reason is, if you have 4 different strings hanging off of this mask, it's really easy to accidentally sew over them, and that's super frustrating. So you don't want to have to take this apart and add more time to putting together your mask. So now we're going to take this over to the sewing machine. Okay, so we are at the sewing machine, and we have the presser foot right before where the mask starts. And if you see this line, this is the line that we're going to stitch over. So we're going to stitch all the way down to the end of the mask. Make sure you go back stitch a couple times at the top and at the bottom. That's really important. You want this to be super secure, like Fort Knox secure. Okay, guys? So I am going to stitch from the top of the mask to the bottom. And go slow. You don't want to break a needle. There's a lot of layers of fabric here, okay? So I'm going to sew that, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. Okay, so here is our mask after we've sewn on this part of the binding. So what we're going to do is, if you flip this down, we're going to trim probably like 1/8 of an inch off of this raw edge, and I'm going to show you why after.